Is it a shift, or are you going to hold on to both aspects of it,
Kind
or
of
is
hold
it?
on to both aspects. I think we're going to, like, the goal with it is that I just don't want to work like this anymore. Every single day, getting in here, getting dirty to this level, and like just the level of like stress that goes with it. I would love to come in and, like, if I had to work on 3 pieces a week, we make content with it, we film it, make, monetize online, and we could still refinish people's furniture. It's just I said it's just a juggling act of, I'm operating all of this on 3 kids, my wife, like the business itself, and then still trying to do all the online stuff. So I go, it's just every day we just move a little bit closer. Like, that's the way I look at it, with having the family and having like everything else that goes with that, doing things, traveling, the kids stuff. It's like, as long as I do a little bit every day, and that's what this past year was just, let's just keep the ball moving forward, and we'll see what happens in 2026.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to focus on the business side of things and
Yeah.
where you're going and what you're doing currently. But if I could get a little bit of a backstory from you, kind of how you started, how you got into the trades, how you got the shop. I watched the video, but let the listeners and watchers of this channel know your story.
Definitely. I mean, it all started as all, young boys do. I worked with my hands. I built things in the backyard, dug holes, built, fish ponds, filled, a hole up with water, did all of that. And I think middle school, I had a basic wood shop class, which, back, what would that have been? That would have been like 99, I think it would have been. We still had wood shop in middle school, which is, unheard of today. But then, went into high school, got I think first year, freshman year, I did wood shop. The teacher was great. I did all the things, and I started finding like a little bit of a passion for it, and just knew like that I wanted to do something. I like building things. So it kind of pushed that curiosity, I guess you could say. I skipped a year because just, middle or high school, like I had some other classes to take. But junior year, I knew I wanted to get back in there. And I think I had 2 periods. And finally, senior year, I had 3 periods of wood shop. So I
Oh,
had a
wow.
really good GPA towards the end because, 3 wood shops and I played sports too. So I was like, well, you got 4 A's real easily. So it was a really good senior year. But I said, I knew I didn't want to go to college. I had the same feeling that a lot of, young people did back then. It's like, I don't want to spend the money. I don't have money. Like I said, I would have had to take one of these, college loans. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't know what I want to do with my life yet. But my parents said, okay, well, you got to have a plan outside of high school. Like, you get a job, like you got to do something. You're not just sitting around. And now we're towards the end of senior year of high school, and I go on AOL, AOL Messenger, if everyone remembers that. And I had a friend that I went to high school with, and I knew her dad had a woodworking shop. It was refinishing, but I didn't really know exactly what it was. But when came home, typed on the computer real quick, like, hey, tell your dad I want a job. This might have been right after the conversation with my parents. Like, I don't remember the timeline. And she ran downstairs, said, hey, remember Aaron? Like, Aaron will love a job. He wants to get into this. He said, come by the shop, 3 days from now or whatever it was. And kind of the rest is history at that point. I started working. It was a place called Ansdale Piano, locally California. A lot of people know that's who sold a lot of pianos right here in the middle of Southern California for many years. I want to say from the 70s till, to the late 90s, right before I jumped in 2004. And that guy was just taking over from the owner because they were closing the piano stores, and they were a piano refinishing company, and they also did furniture. So it was kind of a best of both worlds. But pianos are definitely an animal. They're a different type of animal, and I didn't know that at the time. But I'm so grateful that I got to learn on those. Like I said, working on a $80,000 Steinway piano really gets you to be okay with working on high value or high dollar furniture.
Wow. Yeah, I could imagine. Starting there is everything else seems like a rough piece of framing lumber.
100%. I mean, and he had told me early on that if you could refinish a piano, basically you could do anything. And I mean, at 18, 19, 20 years old, I really didn't understand what that meant till I went out on my own. So going into that, I worked for him, for this guy, for about 5 years. By year 3, I was running the operation, like I was like the shop manager. running all the guys, kind of getting orders done. Only thing I didn't deal with was money or customers. Like that was what the owner was the one that dealt with that. But I kept the shop flowing. And they said we were leading into probably 2007. I got poached by this guy, was Crane's Refinishing. Also another refinishing shop that's been here for 50 plus years. I want to say it's closer to 60 actually now. And he, hey, buy my business. I'm going to retire. I'll sell it to you. Just come work for me for like 6 months, and I'll sell you the business for $50,000. And I was like, I think I was 20 years old at the time, 20, maybe 21. I was probably 21. And I was like, 50 grand might as well have been $1 million. Like it was just an imaginary amount of money to me. And remember, I didn't go to college, so I haven't really seen large amounts of money coming to me, in a matter like of debt. Like just it was a lot of money. And then I went back and I said I worked for the piano shop. 6 months later, the guy calls me again. Hey, $40,000. 6 months later, 30, and I'll let you make payments. And I'm just like, at that point, I was starting to I don't know if I was getting tired of that shop or just the politics of that shop. I just didn't like that anymore. So I kind of had a feeling in my gut that I wanted to do something else. I love working because similar to you, I could do a lot of things. I love construction. I love building. I rebuild houses for fun. My wife and I, like, we do that for our own homes. Maybe I'll go get a contractor's license and go do that, someday. Now I got the skills to be like a fine craftsman, and I could put that in with, contractors. Cause we know if you go look at millwork, new builds, like they are not the highest quality corners, joints, finishes. I go, maybe we'll do something different. And finally, it was 2010. This gentleman, Butch, said, hey, 5 grand, shop's yours. I'm leaving in a month. He goes, I'm 69 years old. I have 12 acres in Missouri. I'm just ready to be done. I want to go fishing every day. So take it or leave it. And at that time, we were up in my family's house in Utah. And I come home from wherever I was driving around at. I say, hey, Butch called me again, and you're not going to believe what he said. And, told my parents, hey, he wants 5 grand and he's leaving in a month. They were like, this is a no brainer. We could loan you some money, and like, this is your college fund that we never used for you. So we can loan you money to get the business started, pay the rent, pay all the deposits for all the utilities, and we'll see what happens. Like at the worst, if it doesn't work out, I still had my day job. I was working 9 to 5, and then I'd come here from 5 to midnight and then work weekends, like, Saturday, Sunday, almost every weekend. I missed my 20s. I mean, I was here all of the time. We were, instead of partying with friends, I was in this shop sleeping on the floor right behind me, like with furniture blankets, because it was 1 o'clock in the morning. I didn't want to drive home. So I said, that's kind of the backstory. We've gone through all of the problems, the headaches that come with starting businesses. And, here we are 16 years later, still in business. And I feel like we're doing better than ever.
It seems like you were a very driven young man.
Yes. And I didn't realize it at the time. I was just passionate. Like I knew I was set out for something greater. I didn't know what that meant at 23, because I said when I bought this shop, I was 23, almost 24 years old. So here I am. I'm young. I still feel young, like a kid, because everybody else in this industry was 69. The guy I worked for was like in his early 50s. I knew a few other refinishers as well that were in their 50s. I go, I'm the young kid. And if I'm like competing on pricing with these refinishers, are the customers going to take me serious? And I went through probably 6 months of that feeling until I started seeing customers trusting me. And I knew the work was fine. Like the work was always great, but it was just, are they going to trust some 23-year-old kid with their, $2,000 piece of furniture? Like that was a lot of the early, like, internal struggle, I guess I was trying to overcome in back in 2010, 2011.
Yeah, a bit of that imposter syndrome.
A little bit. Yes.
Besides just the time that you took to get better at your craft and the time spent as a business owner, what did you do anything to get over that that feeling?
I think it was just time, honestly. Like the customers trusting me, saying, Aaron, you're real passionate about this. Like we don't see this very often. We don't see people that are excited about this. And the fact that we know that you are doing the work, that's even better for us. I mean, I listen to a lot of like the podcasts out there, like Alex Hormozy and all of the like those big names, and that's a lot of the stuff that they say is kind of like prove yourself. Like why in these moments, why trust the guy that's just the guy here taking your money? There, he's not the guy doing the work. Like trust me with your work. My hands are going to be the ones that are working on the furniture. I'm going to make sure that it comes back to you in better condition than you expect. And you won't get that with any of the other companies. Like hearing that now, I go, that's kind of what it was 12 years ago, 15 years ago when was early on in the shop. Like I think just time and seeing customers trusting me with their furniture and seeing their reactions when the furniture was delivered, it just kind of naturally went away. Like, oh, I am good at this. Like the running the business side, so the craft was great. The business side was a lot more of a struggle to figure out. But I go, that part of it was to do good work. Finally got me over that hump of being kind of, I guess, nervous on giving a price or like they won't buy this for $1,000. Like they're not going to pay me $1,000 to do this job. And then just here they are writing a check. You're like, oh, okay. Like 6 months, a year of that, it gets over your fear 100%, especially at 23, 24 years old.
Yeah. It seems like passion and professionalism are fairly lacking in a lot of the trades. Where did you get yours from? Did it come from the way your family, the way you were raised? Was it influenced by mentors, or was it just internally driven?
I think a little bit of it all. My dad was handy. We always call him "Do It Again Ken," though, like that. His name's Ken, and he always would do a project and realize I mismeasured and he bought the wrong doors, and he had to go buy a whole new set of doors because they were custom order. But he still finished the project. It was just like he was not to the level of like professionalism because he was a hobbyist. My dad, like we built things growing up together, working on cars. I was the guy holding the flashlight, all of those stories. I think that was a lot. And seeing, I joke about this now, but now looking back, now that you mentioned this, my parents never stopped either. Like they worked, like we never saw them relax or just sitting around. And we kind of wonder that at home with our kids as well. Like, why are our kids so wild and crazy? And I go, but my wife and I, we never stop. So
Mm.
if they never see me sitting, I don't play video games. I don't sit and just watch TV, around them. So like now looking back, it was probably the same. I saw my parents always driven, work, work, work. Like it was just, that was what they did. But like I said, I had a family friend, which was my parents', best friend from high school, and he was a contractor. His name was Mike, and a lot of the stuff that I would work with him before I started the refinishing shop, and I was doing, building framing. I was doing stuff at his house because he was a contractor, painting, and like, he bought a rental property and kind of hired me after school for 5 or 6 months. Come help me do this remodel, and I went out and did it. Like I mean, I think I was making, $7, $8 an hour at that point, but I go still, it was something at whatever, what was I, probably 16 or 17 years old. And I said, seeing him driven, I said, I think that was so much of the early days. And I always knew that I wanted to own my own business. It was something in my gut from 15 years old. My parents knew about it and was at a cabinet shop, was at a furniture refinishing shop like we own now. But they bought me, it's actually behind you right there, a little clipboard, and you put ATM Woodworking, which are my initials. And, bought that for me in high school when I was doing projects for family members, friends, like just teachers. I was building things senior year. I built the principal's new desk for his office, which was this huge L desk. So it's like I built that in high school,
Wow.
and I got paid a couple $100. Like the principal's not really supposed to give kids money. So I think he had given me a gift card or something like that. But it was just something I got to go to school, and I probably made a few $1,000s in my senior year, like building things for family members. So it was kind of, it all just trickled up. There was no, I wouldn't say there's a point where I said, this is what we want. I think it was just my upbringing, the internal, like, voice in my head that was like, I want to do something bigger. I want to do something greater. And like I said, it's just, we're going back to like the kids today, younger people today, they don't understand that first 6 months of working for a company. They think they want to run the company right when they walk in. I swept floors, stripped furniture, and did some basic sanding for 6 months at the refinishing shop, making $8 an hour. But I was there watching, learning, just being a part of it, going on deliveries. It was just that I knew that I had to put in my time. And I think that's a lot of what is missing today is the younger generation doesn't they don't understand that putting in their time, like, just being a grunt, being an intern, like just all the hard stuff that no one wants to do. I tell people when I have taught people here in my shop, the first things, like, they do the same thing I did. Hey, I'm going to have you strip this, and you're going to do rough sanding, and you could sweep too. But I'm not the biggest, like, I don't really care about the sweeping as much as my old boss was. So I think I said it gets you a good core, because if you don't strip a piece of furniture properly, the whole rest of the process is even more difficult. So it's like in the beginning, you don't understand that. You're like, I'm tired of stripping furniture. It's just that repetition and understanding that this is probably the most important part of the job. Everything else plays off of how well this piece is, stripped. People have told me that 6 months later, a year later, who have worked for me, and they're like, I understand what you meant now. Like, now I understand how difficult and how important these intro tasks are to the entire process. So I said, I think that's a lot of what's missing in today's society with the younger generation getting into working with their hands, not just, woodworking, but all types of contractor type of jobs.
Yeah. You mentioned getting the craft part figured out, but business challenges.
100%.
What was the biggest business challenge growing this shop after you bought it?
So taxes was probably the biggest thing, and making money and money flow and understanding what to quote, like proper estimations. So you're not working for $5 an hour. Um, Early on, like I said, I was juggling two jobs, so I was still making enough money at my day job to survive, pay my rent, pay my car payment, and everything I made here in the shop was to pay the rent here and keep things flowing as we needed to. Um, the taxes part of it, I don't think I paid taxes for the first 4 years. And it's not because I didn't know that I needed to pay taxes. I just didn't know how to. So I decided not to do it. So, finally, no matter what you guys all say, we'll catch up to you one day. They said we did a job for a large aircraft. They rented aircrafts. They were like the leasing company. They got audited, which a lot of these large companies do. Noticed this 1099 never got, fulfilled on the other side. And they sent me a nice little letter from the state of California and said, oh, it looks like you're missing this. I'm like, uh-oh, like this was like the, like come to Jesus moment that we need to figure this out. And I was dating my wife at the time. All the families in legal field and are lawyers and dealing with that kind of stuff. So they said, here's what we have to do. We need to go through you know all of your books for the last 4 years. Like, pull out all the papers. We need to start doing this. And eventually, I said, I think that year we got completely, like, we got the final payment of what we owed the US government, and then we finally came back, and by the end of the year we were able to pay it off, and we zeroed it out. So it was just a year of hard work just to pay Uncle Sam. But then I know, okay, the taxes are not that difficult to do if you set it up properly. That was a lot of the bigger the bigger problems in the beginning, and I like to make it known too. I wasn't proud of it at the time, but I had a truck repo picked up, like, right out of my shop,
Oh,
probably year
wow.
one and a half, because I stopped making payments on it because I kept paying rent here. I just internally, I knew this business is what's going to provide for the rest of my life. If I lose the truck, it is what it is, but paying rent was so much more important, keeping this business alive. I go, it was a cool truck, but it was a downtime. It made me kind of realize I need to change and figuring out what do I do next after this happened. And the same thing, it was not fun at the time. None of this stuff was sleeping on the floor, having that repo, dealing with the taxes. But I go, these were all stepping stones and learning moments, like, of running the business. And then I said, I think finally the biggest one was figuring out how to quote properly, and knowing that I'm making enough money to keep the shop open and still make money and still put a little bit away. My father-in-law, he did like we sat down like after the tax situation, we sat down and he goes, okay, now we need to set this up, and we sat on the computer and built a like a quote template. So I fill out the hours, I track the hours next to it, and I realized I quoted 2 hours of labor but it was four. I'm like, okay, well then the next step was 2 hours and I quoted like two and a half. I'm like, okay, that was okay. Like it just really gave me, I did that solid for 6 months. The 10 seconds it took to write down, all right, it took 1.5 hours to sand this, but it started making me understand what goes into running this business and what we need to keep it, to keep it running. Like that's what most businesses do, is they run out of cash flow. Like they don't shut down because they're not passionate about it, or they don't love what they do. They just run out of money. And I go, and I've been there. I've been down to my last $100 in the shop, and then figured out how to close a couple deals, or I worked late for the next 5 nights, got some jobs done, and made the rent at the next pay, at the next month. So I go, I've been in all these lows and I've figured out what I don't like. And these little changes go such a far way.
Yeah. What advice would you give somebody that's in that tax situation?
Obviously start from day one,
Yeah.
go day one, just you could do so much of that stuff on like a QuickBooks or different apps like that. Um, but I mean, if you want to, I mean, it's not that expensive. Go call an accountant. I think I had talked to somebody not long ago, and they were like, I think it's our accountant, our tax guy is like $100 a month, $150 a month. Like you just send them your bank statement, they input it in your file, do the things, and you're done. I mean, it doesn't take long. If you're a small shop like me, a one, two, maybe three-man shop, we don't have that much, you know, going out every month and coming in every month. It's really easy to track. So call an accountant and just go get a price. Yeah, I said, we're in Southern California where everything is a lot more expensive. Somewhere in the Midwest or in the South, you may be spending $75 a month or something like that to just send your thing to them. They put it in your file. You don't have to raise a finger. And then towards the end of the year, they have all the information just to file your taxes. It's so simple now. And I said, I didn't realize that year one to year four, that it really isn't that big of a deal, especially, when you run a business. In the early days, that's most grateful for, we didn't make a lot of money. Those first few years we were just getting by, which means we broke even in a lot of years. So we didn't have a huge tax burden, but it was still not fun to have. I think at the end I owed the government, I think it was about 18 or $20,000 is like for those 3 or 4 years. So it was just like, still was a lot of money to have to come up with in about a year. So like I tried to pay it off before the next year so we could zero it out for whatever the next fiscal year was.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew. Yep.
I've gone through it all.
I've
Yep.
been in similar situations. I never got a truck taken, but it was, yeah, I've been way behind, and that is a challenging
Yep.
thing.
Yep. And it was so funny too, like looking at it now, is I had the money in the account to pay for it. I had just got paid, maybe I think that day or the day before. So I was like, okay, I'll call them, I'll get paid. I'll pay them back. But I ignored their phone calls for 3, 4 weeks, whatever. I don't remember what that was. And it didn't matter. So it's like, I got the payment. Like I have it here. I'll send it to you. But they wanted XYZ paperwork. I'm like, why am I going to spend $5,000 to buy a truck that I can't afford, just to get it back? I go, you know what? It is what it is. I'll go buy a little $2,000 truck and just deal with it. Like that's what we ended up doing. It was, like I said, it was those first few years were a struggle, and they were all, I said, major learning points in this process of running this business. And I go, I don't want that for anybody else. I want to help people, I want them. That's why I'm going on podcasts and doing these things. I want to help people because I go, it's not that difficult. Like you don't know where to go year one. Trust me, I'm at year 16 and I finally have figured it out. Like it's just, I come to work, I do the things, I pay taxes. I go, it's very easy And even how you set up your business is important too. Are you doing it as a DBA? Are you running as an LLC or an S corp? Like all of these different structures, year one, you have no idea what that means. I mean, and
Mhm.
I had no chat GPT. I had none of that. It could have been a quick Google search and I would have learned. Now you could ask your phone, what's the difference between a S corp and a LLC? And it'll tell you kind of these things, but same thing. Talk to a lawyer. They usually don't charge you up front to just, hey, I'm a business. Here's what I have. They'll ask you about your assets and do you own a home? Do you rent? Do you have a family? And they'll tell you what works best for your business. So it's like that's the things that you don't know day one when you open a business.
You mentioned cash flow. For somebody that's new, that's often a term that they may have heard, but not maybe not understood.
Yeah.
They definitely understand profit, um, and maybe not understand the term, but gross margins.
Yes.
Uh, what is it about cash flow that people need to understand as they're first starting their business, and what advice to keep cash flow going well?
Day one, start a savings plan. Is it $20 from every job you do or a percentage, 2%? Start that. In those early years, like I mentioned, I was working at a day job and coming here at night. I did not save any of that money. So, like, those are the things early on that I regret doing that I'm making extra money here. I should just put it away because when I do go solo, go on my own, it would be really nice to have a little bit of a cushion, a 2, 3 month cushion that I have. So when things get rough, like the car and all of those, the things that happen, then we know we have the savings. So it's like year one, I would definitely say start day one, not even year one, day one, when you open a business, say, I'm going to put away 3% in a savings account from every single job. Just set it away. And you might only be getting $200 jobs, $500 jobs. It's about creating that pattern and that consistency. So when you get that $10,000 job, it's really easy for you to just throw, 500, $600 into a savings account. Like it's just starting that that pattern, that repetition. And then, from there, I said, to run a business, you need money. Like I said, I'm very lucky here. We don't have a ton of overhead. We don't have to buy, pallets full of lumber and, tens of thousands of dollars worth of materials to keep the shop running. We have a big job we're working on right now. And I went yesterday and bought, everything I think I'm going to need for it because I got a deposit from the customer. I said, you know what? I just want to spend this money now and stocked up on $1,000 worth of materials for this one job. So I'm like, okay, at least now it's here. If I have to buy a little bit more later, that's fine. But what if, like, there have been times I remember I was telling Ivan, my right hand man, I remember in those early years, there were sometimes I didn't have money to buy materials for the job that I just picked up. So I have to get another job to basically get a deposit from that customer to buy more materials. And this is where you need cash flow. You need that operating money to make sure, like at the shop here, this past year was a little bit of a weird one where we would finish a job and I would talk to the customer throughout the entire process and, hey, it's ready tomorrow. We could deliver it maybe tomorrow or the next day. Oh, I'm out of town for 2 weeks. I'm like, where was the conversation? Like, we've been chatting for 3 weeks on your project, showing you pictures and like nowhere did it mention you were leaving. So that's where I said same thing. That's where cash flow is important. That this job is done. Now it's sitting here, and then actually the next job had the same thing happen. The customer had something come up. They had to go out of town real quick. Now I got 3 jobs sitting here, and it's $3, $4, $5,000 worth of furniture. But I'm like, well, next week's fine too. When they pay me next week, we'll be good to go. So I
Yeah,
go, so that's a lot of like the cash flow. Like you need operating funds and keeping the business flowing. I mean, really.
yeah. You never know what you're going to run into, whether it's a delayed payment, a non-payment, because
Yeah.
those are always fun. Um, and yeah, you were mentioning your business structure or business structures in general, and what have you chosen as a business structure, and how do you pay yourself?
I'm an S corp, so we set up as an S corp. I think at that time we were getting ready to buy our first house, my wife and I. So no kids. but we want to protect, it's about protecting your assets. So S corp is set up. It's a different type of corporation. I am an employee. I'm a W-2 employee in my business. So I pay myself a once a month salary. So because that's, for one, that's easier to do when you're doing all the book work yourself. Paying yourself every week is just a lot more paperwork. It's just a lot more headache. So I got a great wife. She deals with that part now. So she pays me once a month with my own money. So she, writes the checks, does all the stuff, sends the money to the franchise tax board, all the social security, all the things. It's a system. Same thing too. Like there's a system that she uses, inputs the data, says, hey, this much money goes to this, workman's comp, all, social security, all the things. And then I get my tax deducted paycheck every month. So then the money in the other account is the corporation's account. And I go, it's just, a lot of it is that corporations will stop. It'll stop there. So say something happens. This is why we don't do on-site things. But I go, you go to a house and you refinish and you blow the house up. Like you forget to turn a pilot light off. Like this happened when we were a kid to the house right behind us. They were getting their kitchen refinished. We came home from school and it was ablaze. It was just a crazy moment. And we found out that they were refinishing the kitchen and didn't turn the pilot light off on the water heater. So
Oh,
kaboom, like it exploded. Well, then if that person is going to obviously go after you, number one is have insurance. That's the other big thing early on, is getting insurance to protect yourself. And then two, because insurance is only going to cover you so much, that you want to have that there's a wall. So like the homeowner could sue your entity, but you as a person you are protected. I mean, and this is in the state of California. I don't know how it is in every other state. Contact your local lawyer, all of those things. But like that's how it is here, that the it stops with your corporation. So if you are, if you are successful, you own multiple homes, you have money like savings accounts with your, like your spouse, then they can't come after that. They can only take the business. And if they go after your business, all you have to, if your business goes bankrupt or whatever it is, you could start the business over just under a different name. So like I said, it's really a lot about, asset protection
hmm.
is the way. I said, that's why I'm not a legal guy. That's why I'm a woodworker. I let that go with my in-laws, my wife, like they all deal with that part. But I said, that's what I was told, when we set it up. He goes, this is how I have my company set up. This is how you should do it as well. I'm like, hey, I trust you. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I trust a really good lawyer. Like that's what I really do. And I married into it. So I got lucky.
And lawyers are coming up in the last couple of interviews as a important aspect of running your business.
It is. Yeah. As I said, and
Um,
find a spouse who your in-laws are lawyers. That's a real big bonus that I could tell you, because it costs me maybe a few dinners or, spending time with the family. So I said, it just, they want to see the best for you. And I said, and a lot of lawyers, I said, most people think they get a bad rap because there's so many there's different types of lawyers out there. But when you call locally and you just say, hey, I have a business, here's how I want to set it up. A lot of them, like the paralegal or even the lawyer themselves, will at least be like, all right, tell me what's going on. And they'll just say, hey, you should probably do this, this, and this. This is how much we would charge you to set it up properly. So that way you have no protection, you have no issues down the line. That's one of the biggest things I have heard is LegalZoom and any of these online ones. They are good for a beginner, but there's a lot of fine print in those like contracts or in those things that a lawyer would know to switch or change to protect you a little bit better. So I said you could use all of those. I think we used LegalZoom when I first started with the DBA. I started as a DBA and then transferred over to the corporation, 6 or 7 years after opening.
mhm, mhm. Nice. Yeah, I think a lot of people have that structure side of things. The back end of the business is one thing that really keeps people from taking that first step into business.
There's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
I know it because I lived through it. There's a lot of fear in calling a lawyer or calling that. I mean, I'll open it up again. I didn't have insurance in the shop for 6 years. Yeah, I didn't have liability or asset protection, because my first landlord, he was an old gentleman. He was, just pay me the rent. I don't, it's fine. He didn't have that same level of protection. He was, I think, in his mid 80s. It was a
Mhm.
handshake kind of deal. And when he sold the building that I'm in to another landlord, day one, he goes, you need to have at least, $1 million liability. So I'm like, "Fuck, how much is this going to cost me? He's already raising the rent. Like,
Mm.
what am I going to do?" And I called basic liability, and then I added $500,000 of like content insurance was $125 a month. So, like,
Yeah.
not like I was scared for years to do it, and then once I opened the door and talked to someone, I go, "It really isn't that bad." Like, okay, to protect myself, to go to bed at night knowing I'm protected and I'm safe, it's worth $125 a month. And even now, with all the insurance costs and everything going up, I think I got the bill last month, it's 190. So,
Mhm.
less than $200 a month, and it protects me and my business if something were to ever happen to the building. So, and my customers' furniture. And as we all know, like, from if you follow my social media, we work on a lot of expensive stuff. So it's like I want to make sure that my customers are reimbursed if something were to happen
Mhm.
in my building, next to my building. And it's just not, it's not worth, like I said, that level of stress. I mean, there were the first few years, I didn't even have an alarm here. So it's like I could have come to work one morning and the door be broken down and going, well, like, what do I do now? Like, now we have insurance, like we have alarms, we have cameras, like we have all the things to protect myself.
Yeah. You were mentioning employees. How many employees do you have?
Right now, it's just me and my right hand guy, Ivan.
Oh,
Like
okay.
we during COVID, we went kind of lean and mean.
Mhm.
I at times will have a part timer. It is a nice thing about social media. I get a lot of people on here reaching out locally who want to come intern and just learn the trade and just be a part of the process and learn for their own hobby. So it's like I like to have a half time guy, like 20 hours a week, to be that grunt, stripping, basic sanding, those things. Because the way I look at it now, I'll go, I know at that point now that I want to get another part time, you know, 2 days a week full time, like 8 hours, 8 hours, or even 4 hours every few days. Like I think I'm going to look for that here soon because I pay Ivan way too much money to be the stripper, So you're like, this is the basic task job. Like, he needs to be fixing and repairing furniture or in the spray booth. Stripping, I could teach anyone how to strip furniture properly. I have probably taught a dozen people over the last few years, yeah, probably more than that have come in, worked for a few months, and like, it's not really for me. And like people that worked for me for 2 or 3 years, and then they were woodworkers, so they got a woodworking job versus a restoration job. So I said, I've gone through and taught many people this, and like you were asking, like, I had a time where we had four employees plus me, and I hated it. That's what everyone says. You want employees and doing all the work. And I go, I was not that guy. I
Mhm.
hated that part of the process where I was I felt like a fireman. I was putting a fire out everywhere I went. I
Mhm.
went over here and this guy had a question. The next guy had a question. I'm like, guys, I got to get to work. Like, I have to go do what I came here for. And, finally, two of them ended up moving. They were like kind of like nomads. Like, they were just going city to city and living for like 6 months and go to the next city and go do something else. Like, they were cool, cool guys. And then then one of them was a guy I worked with for a while, and he just disappeared. Don't know ever what happened to him. I don't think he was a happy guy. So I don't know what happened with him, if he just moved, or like, had baby mama drama, like any of that. And eventually, like, COVID shutdowns happened. I had me and Ivan. I just looked at him. I go, if I pay you more, let's just leave it like lean and mean. Like, we don't know what this COVID thing is in the beginning. Let's just keep it like this. We know each other. I have a young kid at that time. We had our firstborn right before COVID. And I'm like, I don't want to add any more people into the shop. Like, let's just leave it like that. And over time, we've had a guy work for me for about 6 months doing like the grunt stuff. He moved back to like Lake Havasu, Arizona. Like I said, I just those grunt guys are really, and girls. I've had a decent amount of women that worked in the shop, and they said the same thing. They love refinishing furniture. It's a little harder to make some of the stripper jokes at the beginning because they're women. So I said it's just I said there's so many different personalities that when you bring someone else in, it just creates a weird flow in your shop. And
Mhm.
because I'm in my shop every day, I'm here more than I'm at home. So it's like I don't want to walk on eggshells in my own business. I don't want to feel discomfort coming to my own business that I pay for. So I was like, let's just keep it like this right now. And that's where a lot of this online stuff
Mhm.
has started to take over a little bit more, that I'm trying to go that route, keeping it more just Ivan and I, and not expanding to, more employees yet. Yeah, I said I want to. It's still in my mind that I want to do it, but I'm still juggling what's the right option right now.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
The
how much do those employees add to the bottom line, or is it just getting product out the door faster? And are you making money off of hourly, or are there other sales and other revenue sources within the business before the online stuff? And we'll get there in a moment.
Yeah. So like with I, like all early businesses, you try to figure out, am I doing it properly? If I pay a guy to work for me, am I considering that in the price to get the job done? Like, how am I going to juggle this? And like I said, we've gone through these learning curves. Like Ivan started working for me, I think for $12 an hour. He's been with me for like a decade now. So it's like then went to 15, and like he's just trickled up. But also as the overhead of the business, like the rent's gone up, like I was saying, everything else has increased. So it's like, how do we do this? Like, how are we going to be fair to our customers, but still keep the lights on? And it's like, I know that's the biggest fear that I know because I've lived it of there's not that customer's not going to pay me $2,000 to do that little table. Like, well, they will if they see the craftsmanship behind it and know that it's going to be done properly. They'll have no problem paying what it takes. Hey, this is 15 hours of labor. Here's what our labor rate needs to be for those hours. Materials, pick up, delivery. This is what it is. And this has been the beauty of like the online world, though. My customers find me and they know that it's going to be well taken care of because they've seen 4.5 years worth of content, knowing, oh, this guy's consistent, he's really good, I love that piece of furniture he restored. Like that's really helped on that part of it with selling your work, selling yourself, because no matter what you're going to do, you still need to sell yourself to a potential customer, maybe an employer, like whatever it is. Doesn't You don't have to be a business owner, but you just have to be able to show yourself in a different way where the people, what do they all say, know, like, and trust you. So I said
Yeah.
that's really been the biggest game changer in my industry, and I said I've seen the pros of that. And I said I went a decade without thinking that that was a good thing, but so it just there was still a lot of business side, a lot of trial and error. How do I run it properly with an employee? How do I set it up properly to protect me and protect him, like as an employee in this type of like workshop? Like those are all the things early on that we learned by trial and error, and and putting my foot on that fire and like, oh, that's hot. Like we realized what works, what doesn't work. And it's taken, like I said, it took us a decade to get to that point, to be like smooth, to be running, from 2010 to 2000, basically 2020, we finally got everything figured out. Like where I went to work, I didn't have to worry about anything. The jobs came in, the jobs went out, everyone paid, there was no problems. And then, as I said, then the shutdowns happen, and we're like, oh, great! Like, let's see what this happens for our business. But, it's there's a lot of trial and error with with starting out, starting a business and keeping that business flowing for time. Like I said, every time you level up and you go from a single man shop to hiring your first employee, there's a learning curve there, and it's scary to get past. But once you do, you realize, okay, this is easy. And I think a lot of it is the money. Is our customers going to now pay that elevated price because I hire an employee? I never saw. I think part of your question was like getting stuff out. I have been that what do you want to call it? Lynchpin, or I still can't let people do the final coats. I
Mm.
can't let go of that because people are paying me to do the work. I have people do all the other parts of the process. They will strip it, they could sand it. I'll do my final inspection. I'll put it in the spray booth. Like now, Ivan will spray sealers, sand sealers. I'll do all the touch ups, which is all the hand painting part, and then I'll throw it in for the last coats. That was always the problem. Like more employees just meant that I was in the spray booth nonstop, which means how do I get stuff? I never got more out of the door. So it's like I got the same amount out because I only worked so many hours in the shop. So more employees in the front half of the shop, of the process didn't make me more money. And it was like I said, I know that. And that's where during, like I said, during COVID, I just reevaluated. I go, I don't want to have someone take over my part of the process. I want like they are paying me. I am the artist that they want to, pay money to restore their furniture. I want to make sure it's done my way. And I go, that's the biggest part to still overcome. I've been training Ivan recently, spraying finals. He's been doing his own like side projects. His finishes are getting better and better because he's learning under me. And you're just like, eventually this could be something that I could step away and maybe even Ivan can run like the shop and we give him a right hand man. So I go, it's just, these are all the little things that, you learn as you go. And what do they all say? Like the best day to start was yesterday. The second best day is today. Like you just have to get started. You will figure it out. You're not going to have all the answers right when you start your business. Just start. Just go. Like you will know. Oh, I got to pay taxes. Okay, that's the next thing I got to figure out. There's another few hours of research. What do I do? Okay, boom. You're past that point. Like it's just you will your business will dictate what you need to do next. You cannot have this game plan that this is what's going to happen in the next 10 years because by year 2 you're going to go in another direction. Something's going to happen and you're going to change, you're going to change course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Well, what are you planning on? I mean, you're saying as you build this other arm of the business, which we're about to get to, as you are growing the shop, what are the plans for building process and procedure, whether it's training or how people operate in there, so that you can step back?
So as you know, I said, go through my backstory. I had a heart attack in 2022. So right now we just started 2026. So here we are, I think it was about just over 3 years ago. I, almost died. I had a widowmaker heart. I didn't have the widowmaker, thank goodness. I had 3 minor heart attacks from that artery where we're basically warning shots. Like, and they're calling them, they're mini heart attacks. But I was telling a customer yesterday, looking back now, I was laying in the ICU. At the time, I didn't know what the ICU meant. Like, I just like, la, 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 la. I thought it was funny. Like, man, I'm stupid. I need to start doing better. I was in ICU because they knew that I was about to have a heart attack, the full blown. They didn't know that it was a widowmaker at that time. But, it was after that heart attack coming back, realizing my wife was 8 months pregnant. What do we, I would have never known these kids. These kids would have never known me. I need to change. So like day 1 started eating better, being healthier, cutting all the crap out, like just all the bad foods and just started seeing my weight go down. After that first month, I had this is where we'll tie her in, good friend. She's one of my best friends now, Anastasia. A lot of people will know her if they've been following my social media for a while, but she hit me up before the heart attack for 3 months. Can I come? I'm a photographer. I will photograph. Can you just teach me some tricks? Sounds good. Let's do it. I canceled on her again. And then I had a plan to meet her the Monday after my heart attack. I had the heart attack, I think, on Tuesday. So it was like the next Monday she was on the books. I go, God, I can't cancel on this girl again. Like I almost just died. I got to do something different. Like I had a stent placed. So I was back to work in a matter of a couple days. I took a couple days off and I felt fine. I felt great at that point because I had blood flow again, but she came in and after talking with her, she goes, what are your similar things? Like, what are your goals for this? And, oh, I don't know. Like I've had thoughts because I was already making content for Instagram. I was already doing well on social media, 10,000 followers, something like that. And, she was like, I want to see something better for you, but I don't know what that is. Like, you need to have some thoughts. Like, she was my first coach if I looking back now. She was the first one to say, "I see something better for you. Let's do it. Like, let's figure out how you could do that." And she said, I said, maybe we'll do a course because like that's what was the big thing back then. Let's do a course teaching. She goes, if you're going to do that, you need to write a script. Like you can't just come in here and just like freeball it. Let's just go. Like write a script. And as we're writing the script, I wrote a book. And the refinishing guide is like basically everything that's in my brain in the process on paper. I just looked at it as a passion project that if I were to have died or have another heart attack, because that was a lot of the mindset in the beginning of like this 36-year-old guy just had a heart attack. How often, like, is he going to have another one soon? Like, it was just like in my mind, I got to do something with this knowledge that's in my brain. So I go, let's just write it down. So it was 18 months. I wrote this book. Was on another podcast last year, and he said the book is more like an SOP for your business. And I never looked at it in that way. And I go, if I hire someone new, give them a copy of the book and say, learn chapters 1 through 9. That's all you're going to do. And it's got all the materials, the processes, the tools that you need, little tricks. And he goes, Aaron, like if you were to just leave, you could hand that to somebody and they would be able to figure out your process in your shop. I said, okay, so like that's kind of like the idea that if I'm going to hire someone, that's what I'm going to do is have a copy of the book. You are only going to do these things. So just learn these chapters. We'll start next week, go home, figure this out. Have any questions, ask me and we'll follow up. So I said, that's kind of like how we now look at it. It just happened ironically. Same thing. My business dictated this situation. Now I have a standard operating procedure in my shop that I could hand to any employee. It's a lot nicer than your standard like flip book that you have over, that at any like, HR in any business. But it tells you everything that you need to know in like, as an employee in my shop. So I said that is kind of how that happened, where like if I do decide to step back or slow down or even send work to other refinishing shops around the area, I have to know that they're doing the work like us. And it's simple as handing them a copy of this book and say, here are my steps, here are my paint ratios, here's how I spray. If you have any questions, let me know. Like it's turning into something even greater than what I thought it was. To me, it was just a passion project post heart attack. That it's like, I have to do this.
Wow. Wow. um, have you ever considered franchising or licensing?
We've gone down that route in the past few years. Same thing, being on the internet, someone reached out to me and asked these things. And it's a buddy of mine out in Hawaii, and he's a young man, retired already. Like he made a lot of money early on, and he has now a vintage store out in Hawaii, and he has this idea of making these multi, like what do we want to call it? It's just like a large building, but he subdivides it to these different things. He wants to have a furniture store in all the big cities, with a coffee shop, a yoga studio. Like he wants it just to be this really cool area, and he wants Moore's Refinishing to be a part of that. And 6 months earlier, he had told me this. I go, this is not going to happen. I go, who's going to do the same work that I'm going to do? Like that's the problem. He came and visited my shop, middle of last year. And I said, 6 months ago, I thought you were crazy, but now I have a different mindset. I've been talking to more people online. Now, what if I find refinishers around the country that if you decide to go down this route in Austin, well, guess what? Now I have people in Austin that I know and trust, and we could ask them, do you want to partner up? Do you want to, like, we're thinking about opening a Moore's Refinishing branded, shop there. We could partner. You could just work under this name, and we are looking to expand. So I go, the possibility over the next handful of years is something that's there, but we need to find the refinishers first, because as a lot of people know, the refinishing industry, it's been a dying art. And I've been hearing that from customers for a decade and never put that into, I should do something about this. Like it just never occurred because I was just so busy with work. I don't have time for the internet. I don't have time for making videos. I go, now that we've done it, I go, if I would have started this 10 years earlier, we would have been so much further along, met so many more new people, and we might already be expanding Moore's Refinishing to other locations around the country. So I said the franchise model is difficult because it's I still have that pride part of it where what if they don't do a good work like I do? What if
Uh-huh.
they are using my name but getting a bad reputation? And then it comes on to me. So I was just like, I don't know if I could make this work. And like I said, over time, I'm slowly opening my mind to it and whatever I could do to help other businesses get to the same level. That's like I said, that's what we'll get into. Like that's the passion. That's what I'm trying. That's what I've been trying to do all of 2025, putting all these pieces into place. And then now 2026 is actually get the ball rolling.
Nice. Well, to 2026, getting that ball rolling, you've got this new digital arm of the business.
Yep.
Is it the same business or is it a separate entity?
We are going under the brand of Revive and Refine by
Okay.
Moore's Refinishing.
Okay.
That's a lot of my online content. Just because I go, Moore's Refinishing is me. It's this place here. The online world, I want to have a little bit different. It could be part of like what we want to do. It's like I don't want it to just be refinishers. It's about reviving and refining anything. It could be metal polishers, it could be upholstery shops, cane shops, anything at some point. I'm looking at it right now as just the refinishers and woodworking industry, but
Hmm.
doesn't mean 5 years from now, 2 years from now, it's not something much grander and greater. Like that's really kind of the reasoning behind kind of the name shift. Like Moore's Refinishing is known online, all the social media, but like the book is Revive and Refine. All the other things we've been working on is under that same umbrella.
It seems as if you're not just teaching the refinishing technical aspects, but also the business side. Is that correct?
Trying to, trying
Okay.
to. So I'm trying to get other refinishers or woodworking shops to do similar things that we did here. I was going back, I was listening through it was the Alex Hormozy book launch back in was it in August. I was going back and I go, all right, I want to teach people to refinish, but like your average homeowner, your average hobbyist isn't going to want to spend $5,000 for like a year of me teaching them or coaching them. It's just a hobby to a lot of people. But like during that talk and like the following days, me and Ivan here were sitting like, what are we going to do different? Like this is a good idea, but what have I done different? And I think the biggest thing I just finally clicked. I go, I could help other businesses grow. There's a lot of people online who could help with like Facebook ads or Google ads, any of those. But I realized I have never spent $1 on advertising my business. So everything that we've done here has been repeats and referrals. That's how we grew organically in the beginning and doing high quality work. But now with the internet, we've expanded that even greater. It's just like the social media side. I just did the math this week. We had 123 new customers just from my social media content. Like, hey, I follow you on Instagram. I want you to refinish this piece. So, like, or I broke my chair. Could you repair this chair? So I said it was 123 customers last year that were just from social media, not including my repeats, my dealers, or just a customer that found me on like a Google like search real quick. So I go, I want to help teach people that part of it, that you don't need to spend $1,000 a month on ads. Like if you do things the way I did, which now with technology, ChatGPT or AI, they're the things that I did early on were searching, like going searching on the internet for a refinishing business that does like other types of furniture or like in home. I met upholstery shops, clock shops, piano technicians, and just introduced myself. Well, I've been playing around with it myself on ChatGPT, and you can now could type in, furniture refinisher. Say you're a finisher. Say I'm looking for upholstery shops in 5 mile radius of X city. It'll make a list of all the ones, phone numbers, email addresses, and say that you could call them up right then and there and introduce yourself, send them an email, look them up on Instagram and say, hey, here's what I do for a living. If you ever have any customers that need a chair repaired, I'm just down the street. Like that's what I did early on, but I hand wrote letters, mailed them, licked every envelope, threw them in the mail. And I probably did 300, 400 of those in the first like 6 to 8 months of the shop. And some of those customers I still work with today, 15, 16 years later, they're still customers of mine. So it's like you don't know who you're going to meet. And being a refinisher, there are not enough of us. So like I
Mm.
have more work than I know what to do with. Like right now, I'm probably 4 to 6 months backlogged just with the list that I have sitting next to me. So it's just unreal. We never had that like before the social media. We were busy, like we made a living, we did all right, but the internet has just exploded basically your free advertisement. You have like, I like to look at it, woodworkers and refinishers, we're patient people, men and women, and I'm willing to sit around and watch paint dry. So doing like I posted on Instagram for 6 months and saw nothing. I posted 1 to 3 times a day because that's what they all said you had to do. I said, you know what? I'm gonna just do it. Like let's just see what happens. And it was like I think by month 4 we had one video do decent, and then it went back to nothing. So we're like, and now looking back, I should have made more videos like that one. Now I've learned these things. So it's like all this same thing is trial and error of starting the business. I went through trial and error of running social media and doing everything you see is done by me and Ivan in house. Like we don't hire anybody to make any of the content. I am always like, I go back, I'm just a woodworker, but I realized, I was listening to a podcast yesterday. I go, I'm not, I'm much more than that now. I've learned, I've put in the time. I've learned how to edit videos. Learned how to figure out to set up headphones and microphones to do podcasts. I didn't know how to do this 5 years ago. Like it just was. I come in here, I work with my hands, I go home. It's a good life, and I go. It's just whatever I could do now to basically collapse time for another woodworker or another refinisher around the country. Many of them, we have friends around the world. That's my new passion of basically giving back and helping somebody and helping another refinisher.
So with all those things that you were mentioning, learning, you've also been learning how to build an online business.
Yes. Yeah. And
And
that's been a struggle.
and I saw that you have 3 tiers of membership.
Yes.
Um, when did you start this, and how has the experience been? The growth, was it is it slower than expected, as I find every business is, or have you gained traction? Tell me about it. What's the story?
Well, then, so let's see. How do we want to start this quick story? Um, the internet dictated what it wanted from me.
Okay.
A lot of the questions. So I have there's the smaller option I started about a year and a half ago, which is my school community. It's the Revive and Refine. It's basically a master class. It's a $5 a month community. I kind of use that now is in hopes of that's my monetization. I don't need to make money on YouTube. I don't need to care about all the social media platforms paying me. If people come to join this community, I make private videos. Like we have about 50 videos in there now, and about 50 that we're planning to film here in the next, coming the next couple months. Like we've had a list that we've been adding up of what are people asking for, what do they want from me, and I go, and this is the one place too where I answer everyone's questions. I don't. I on social media, I very rarely will like, hey, I don't like giving all the information in a chat form like that because I did that for 4 years earlier. I probably answered every question out there in Instagram form, in DM. I wish that it was somewhere publicly that other people could read because they may not even need to ask me the question. So if they could join this community and you could go at the top and search stripping issues or sanding issues, any of those the keywords will go through, and you could go through all of the other questions that other members, other refinishers have asked, and you may not even need to ask your question anymore. You may get the answer real quick. That was part of the reason of starting that. Same thing. It dictated to me I need to do something different versus, just keep answering messages in the DMs. Cause I go, there was hundreds upon hundreds of the same. What stripper do you use? What this do you use? Like, how do I do this? I messed up this thing. What do I do? That was the passion of that. And that was during that time I go, okay, how do we get into coaching or consulting refinishers? We all know that I just said that story that's shifted during Alex Hormozzi's book launch. now I was like, I want to help business owners, but how do I do this? So it was for about 3 months, from August till probably October, beginning of November, we wrote, I wrote down another like business coach course. Same thing in the sense of my book. I just wrote down all the information. What did I do to start this business? And we go through things like we talked today: business structure, taxes, how to set things up. I set up also too in this course is a like what podcasts have I listened to that have been mind changing to me? What books have I read? Because I was never this person 5 years ago. Like I listen to books here at the shop when I'm in, spraying in the booth. I'll listen to a podcast or, any of those things to keep learning while I'm operating. I feel lucky that I get to work, in a sense, 16 hours a day. I get to work with my hands 8 hours, but I'm also learning while I'm working at the same time. So I kind of get the luxury of doing both. And it's like I said, it's mindless tasks anyways. When you're spraying, you're in a loud spray booth. I go put a headphones on and you could learn. So I said that kind of dictated me to uh to get into like helping those people. But that course is much more than that now. What did I do to not spend money on ads? It's the same thing. I had no money in the beginning for advertising. Spending $500 a month was just a foreign thought to me year one, year two, because I didn't have it. I was getting enough work to survive, but here's all the things that I did. Like I mentioned of writing letters to companies, or now updating it to, you could use Google search, or you could use Instagram or Facebook. Now I'm adding another little lesson to this course about ChatGPT and how you could use it to speed up all of this process. And like, I wish I had this 10 years ago. It would have been real nice. And then, getting into what you're talking about with the tiers, we set up definitely our top level is the price anchor. Is I basically become your marketing department, a refinishing shop. If you don't want to do it or you don't know how to do it, you could pay me and I can tell you what reels to make, what videos to make. I will reach out personally to anyone in your area that, hey, I am working with this guy. He's a great refinisher or a great woodworker. I should introduce you. I'll use my power of the connections from my internet, persona. And I know a lot of people in a lot of different areas where I could connect the dots for these people, on top of teaching them who to reach out to and how to do it. So like I become like your marketing department. Like that's really a top tier. The next one down is just your middle of the road. But we can hop on calls every couple weeks. I will tell you what works, what doesn't work on social media. I'm learning too. I'm being coached by other influencers or other people online who now are to the level that I want to get to. So I'm learning from them, which means what I learn will also get passed down to all of my students, my mentors or mentees. So that way, I said, if I want to get to 1 million followers on all social media, well, I have to learn the things to get me to that point. Like, how do I do that? Well, guess what? I could then pass that down to you, that I want to make money on doing this stuff online. I really am passionate about helping more people, but maybe you just want to be a woodworker like I was for 15 years. You want to go to work and build things and do awesome projects. I want to help you do that. Like that's really been the goal this past, you know, 3 months, 4 months of building it. We've been talking to friends behind the scenes, but we officially launched it right before the beginning of the year. So that way we
Oh,
started
okay.
2026. Now it's on my website. It's on all the things. People, like there's videos on YouTube about it now, and talking about what my goals are and what we're trying to do with basically all the knowledge that I've collected over the last 15 years.
Nice. Nice. Um, $5 a month seems incredibly affordable.
I had started it a little bit higher, and I saw a few people, like they joined, and over like 6 months I was like, okay, we'll go up like maybe $5 more, and then I saw a pause, I saw a stall. It was like I had it at $15 a month for a little while, but I go, you know what, I want to keep the entry so low that anybody could just go sign up and join. Eventually it may go up. So sign up now, I guess. But I go, it's eventually it may, when we have 300 videos in there and we have, all this other things. I mean, there's all these other things that we could do that are in our, you know, our B list right now. But I go, we got to finish list A first. But I go, I wanted to keep it so cheap that, $5 a month was just like, well, even I like Aaron. I like the stuff that he gives me on like, the free search on YouTube, on Instagram, on all my videos. I'll pay him $5 a month just to help him out. Like, that's what I wanted to keep it down to.
Mhm.
And I mean, obviously now my goal is, okay, what if we could get this to 5,000 or 10,000 members at $5 a month? I go, I would love to make that kind of money. So all I have to do is make videos for these people. Like, I don't have to refinish 15 pieces of furniture a week to make the money we need to keep the shop operating. I would love to make 3 pieces or do 3 pieces a week, make videos with that content to basically give back to YouTube, Instagram, but majority back to this community. Cause I go, this is the people that, if they're willing to invest in their skills, their growth, then I want to help them out. Like, that's really, like, that's obviously the free stuff on YouTube and Instagram. That's the top of funnel. And we
Mhm.
want to get them
Mhm.
to come down. Once they're in the community, they'll see, oh, Aaron has a book. Cool. We could sell a book. Like, we said that early on with Anastasia, when after we finished the book. Like, I finished it. I was sitting actually right here, closed the first copy, but knew, like, we aren't done yet. Like, I'm not here just to be a guy that's selling a book. Like, I'm not here to be just a book salesman. And if you've been following me for a while on social media, like, I don't promote the book. Like, you don't see me with paid ads of buy my book. We sold, since launch in September of 2024, we sold over 600 copies of the hardcover book.
Oh wow.
And I think we've done another 200 or 300 of the digital copies online from, like, I love seeing those because they're usually in faraway countries.
Mm.
They're in, like, Estonia is one of
Oh
them.
wow.
Like, it's just like all these small European countries. And for one, the shipping is just crazy to get it to these places. I have done it. I've done them to, uh, uh, whereas I did it to, like, Holland, I did it, or is it Denmark? I've done Italy, Spain, the UK, Australia. I've sent books all over the world, which is pretty amazing. Like I said, to see people spend their hard-earned money on something that I just did as a passion, and I really didn't realize what it was at the time. And a guy hit me up. I'm going to give him a shout out. It was a refinishing or a woodworking shop and a furniture dealer in Maine. It was like Maine mid-century modern, but he hit me up. Hey, thanks for following my page. I've been hearing your name from 5 other friends. They said you have your refinishing book is like the holy grail of woodworking. And I go, can you say that on video? Because I go, I could use that for some marketing. But same thing. I go, I've never put any advertising to the book. You'll see me talk in a video on YouTube or Instagram, but, like, same thing. I have not put any, like, advertising dollars behind any of this yet. I want to kind of, my perfection brain is, I want to have all of it done first. So now when we have it, everything is in place. And I'm not following my own rule of, hey, let's just get started today. But I keep wanting to have more stuff for these people, these individuals, to help them out. And, I guess, yeah. Well, and lastly, I said, obviously the bottom tier of those 3 tiers you were talking about is this Moore's Refinishing network, this community. It's set up. The business course is inside of it. You come in, you sign up. It's right now for the first 20 people. I have it at $75 a month. Basically, I am finding leads for you. You can learn how to find your own leads. You can make connections from other refinishers around the country. Same thing is what I'm hoping for is that upholsterers will sign up one day, and those upholstery shops meet woodworking shops just down the street, and they make connections through me. Like, that's really what I would love to have, because there's a lot of community missing in this industry. We're, like, very isolated.
Mm.
For many years, I worked here by myself. Like, nobody, no other employees, just me. And it gets very lonely. So I go,
Mhm.
being a part of like a community could definitely help out there. And I said, on top of that, like, obviously you would be paying me to be in this community, but I want to give you 110% of what I've learned. Like, I want that success for you and your business, because this past year, I mean, right now, we'll go on your business side of the podcast. I have gone through four, 5 cycles total, but 4 of these cycles as a business owner. And this industry, it's like woodworkers, refinishers, contractors. We go through like a 4 to 5 year cycle. So they kind of follow along the elections, but like every summer is slow. That's in my industry. The phone doesn't ring during the summer a
Hmm.
lot. It does now, but before the internet, it would be slow, and then you would get a drop off. This is when you would lose, companies would close down. They didn't have cash flow. They ran out of money. They closed their doors. That next year is kind of a lull, like it's a little slow, and it starts picking up. And then another year later, now you're at the peak again. And
Hmm.
it's just that if the theory is correct, and if like I've now gone through 4 of these, like I talked to an upholstery shop when I opened, one of those first guys that I met. He said, "Hey, I've been here for 30 years. This is all just part of a cycle because I opened the shop coming out of the '08 crash. So we still were not back. Like it was 2010 when I opened. Things were not flowing yet with the country. So he told me, "Don't worry about it. Give it another year. Just make it through, and and next thing you know, he was right." And I said, "I've been following these cycles, and now this is where I wanted, like, the passion to help businesses, following all these people on the internet. I've made a lot of friends, and seeing a dozen of them this year, or the end of 2024, close their doors,
Hmm.
really bummed me out, because I was just like, you were so good at what you do. You love what you do, but it said you ran out of money. You started in 2020, and you didn't realize that there was this cycle,
Hmm.
that there was a lot of money in 2020, 2021. There was just money was everywhere. 2023, things started to like pause, like you started feeling it. And then 2024, we came into the summer slows down usually, but usually during the election season, doesn't matter who wins the election. It's that November till about Christmas, from election day to about Christmas, the phones are slow. People want to see what the new administration's going to do, what are their things. This one extended into like early February. So February 2025. So if you weren't ready from June or July of 24 to January of 25, and you didn't have the money to keep operating, a lot of these people had to close their doors. They did not plan for it. And a lot of them, like I said, were ones that came in early cycle. So they came in 2020, made a bunch of money, got a lot of like fame on the internet, did real well, and then closed their doors 4 years later. And I go, I hated seeing that, but these people didn't know what was coming. Like I knew, because I planned for it every 4 years. Like I know summers are a little slower, and the election is always weird. Like
Hmm.
there's just always a weird election, depending on who wins. And you're just like, by February, we're back to normal. Like phones ringing again. Everything was crazy. My backlog went from 3 to 4 months to 2, and
Oh.
then jumped right back up like after that. So I go, we got caught up a little bit, which was nice. But I said that finding the work, there's more than enough people out there that want to spend money on furniture restoration. Maybe they just don't know about it yet. The biggest thing I get online is, I didn't know people still did this.
Hmm.
And I go, I'm here. I've been doing it 20 plus years. I go, I'm not going anywhere. I'm 39 years old. I go, I promise I'm not going anywhere right now. And I hope not. I hope, no more heart attacks. But
Yeah.
and they're just like, it's just so cool to see younger people getting into this. I'm like, well, thank you. Like, I'm not young and I'm not 20 anymore, but it just, there's so much work out there. And there's also customers that don't know they need your services yet, only
Hmm.
because they don't know you exist yet. So
Hmm.
like that's really the biggest thing of putting yourself online. I am an advocate for that. 5 years ago, I would have said I was crazy, but getting online and putting stuff on the internet, people just like to get to know you. They get to know and like and trust you before they even call you. And when you get really good, like what we've gotten to on the social media, people are like, can you make a video for me on YouTube? And like they just want to see their piece of furniture on social media. It means the world to them. And you know estimate wise, and things that we're talking about with money, um when they see all the work that you do to it and all the quality, Like, I rarely get any bidding war type of customers. Like, oh, I'm shopping around. My customers find me. They want me. If they don't have enough money for the project, they call me. They basically say, I will call you in 6 months. I will save the money for this and I'll call you when I'm ready. And they do. So I go, that's the
Hmm.
advertisement, any of those kind of things do not have that power. Like social media has the power to do that. So if you're struggling and you're wondering how I can make more money or I'm not charging enough, put your work out there, post it on the internet, show people that what you do takes time. Because that's a lot of it is they think, oh, it's just a real quick thing. A lot of the ones like somebody they'll just call, oh, I didn't realize it was that much work. I go, it is. I mean, it's this many hours to strip it, this many to sand. Maybe there's things we don't know about until we dive in. This is why the price is what it is. And because they know my work online, they say, I completely understand. I trust you. I see what you've done on all of those other pieces of furniture. So like you might get a new follower, they find you and they call you immediately. Other ones might follow you for 4 years. I've had this like for many, many years, and then they inherit a piece of furniture from a family member, or they went to a thrift store and found that needle in the haystack. They found that one piece and they know who to call at that moment. So these are just passive watchers of your content until one day they need you and they know who to call. Like I said, there's no money cannot buy that power. Like it really is crazy what the internet could do for your business.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, we've been going for over an hour now, which is
Well,
awesome. I feel like we could. I
I
feel
could
like we
talk
could
all
go
day.
forever.
Hey, if you were here in person, we'd be sitting here grabbing lunch and getting podcasts and keep it going.
Oh,
But
maybe sometime down the road, I would love to get this show on the road eventually and
you're
do
more
more
than
in
welcome. You're more
persons.
than welcome here. I
Okay.
know with my goals for all of this, I would like if one day like we are monetized or we're making the money from these communities, like I'll fly out there. We could do something together. I make a video about this, this trip, meeting you, going on a podcast. Maybe we go thrifting or like just go look for like those are all things that you can make content on
That
the
could be a lot
internet.
of fun.
It would
Yeah.
just be, I said, that's my goal with all of this. I want to be able to go meet friends. I got friends all over the world now from the internet, and I would love to just like I want to fly to Australia to go meet my buddy Jamie in person and go make some videos with him online. I would love to do that, and like I said, it's the passion is to do these things so I don't have to work as hard here in the shop, and I could be with and spend time with the family even more. Like that's really the goal with all of this. Like that's why you see my face on the internet. I am not this person. Like I was never outgoing. I never really cared about being on the internet, but I got through that hump, that fear because I was like I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it
Hmm.
for the betterment of the family, the goals we have in the future. And like I said, really just to spend more time with the kids. Like I don't want to work here 12 hours a day if I don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Aaron, what's the one question that you're never asked but you wish people did ask you?
Ooh, I've heard you say this in other podcasts too. Phew, that's a good one. I haven't actually thought about this yet. um, I guess uh, that's when I was going to say, that all of this is me. So a lot of people think online that I'm paying somebody to do things, a lot of like that I am the person that you see online. Like this is just me. I'm trying to come out and be more myself, and it's hard once the camera turns on. It's a little bit more awkward being just a guy talking to a screen. I could talking to people, talking to you one on one. I could do this all day long. I loved what I do for a living. I'm passionate. I wouldn't be doing this for 22 years if I didn't love the core part of this job, which is the restoring furniture. So it's it's really just I would say very humbling when people reach out and say the things that they do of your book helped me with this. I have a friend that like one of the biggest things that I've seen is I had a friend, he's in Cleveland, CLE Vintage. Go look him up. He's an awesome guy, but he owned a metal shop, and that was a part owner and started this furniture business on the side. He found me on Instagram, bought the book. The book answered all the questions he needed, started producing more quality furniture for his store. And now he just sold his portion of the steel company and he's going all in on his furniture business, all because he bought the refinishing guide. And I go, the humble, like just it, those kind, I got goosebumps. I go, those kind of things I give comments like that quite a bit, and people messaging me that this changed everything for their business or for their even just hobby. Like I never knew that you could do this with my furniture, like these kind of things. And I go, getting those stories. So if people follow me, don't be scared to send me a message. Or if you see me at like a paint store, I go to my local paint store and I've heard stories of refinishers there not wanting to call me because they're just like, Aaron's busy. I'm like, call me. I would love to talk to every one of you. Send me a message on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you follow me on, because I go, that gives me the motivation to keep doing this. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't make a lot of money on the internet right now. Like I've been doing it for $0 for 3.5 years. Facebook started paying me about $5 a month last year. And just in the past like 3 or 4 months, I finally got Facebook leveled up and I make $100 a month now on Facebook. So I go, it's just that the motivation is not money. It's about hearing the stories about your success that really keep me going through and working every day, late nights editing videos or filming stuff when I should be actually working. Those are the reasons why I I keep going, is those messages and people reaching out. So keep doing it. It really makes me work harder for you guys.
What's your definition of craftsmanship?
I think that's a good one. Everyone has a good um has their own thought of that. I go, craftsmanship to me would be, I said I'm a perfectionist, so I want to give the best quality, like, piece of furniture, no matter what. Like I've seen other people's poor craftsmanship, from repairs, from they sanded with 80 grit on an orbital sander, and like I just know that that's maybe that's what it is, that I know that that is poor craftsmanship, and I know not to do that. And I think it all started with refinishing pianos, knowing you can't get away with these things. You can't,
Mm.
you can't do this cheat, like this you can't cut this corner. Like if you follow my process of the refinishing steps, you basically can go through the entire thing and not have any issues. And I've gone through them. I've gone through all the problems. I've gone through all the I've done poor craftsmanship where I think maybe I could get away with just, hey, we'll scuff the sides, we'll respray them, and the customer will never know. Like those are always the jobs that bite you in the butt. Like just follow the process, trust the process, and be patient. If something doesn't look right, or it's messing up, maybe like finish is running or dripping, don't stress on it. Just be patient, let it dry, and start again fresh the next day. Because I go, there's been many things where I try to do poor craftsmanship and it bites me in the butt. So I said, maybe that's the opposite of the answer for that. But I go, I know what not to do. So we only do the right thing. We only try to do uh, like high quality work every single time. Like that's really, I think, what has set my shop different apart from so many other like refinishers that have come and gone, is that we look inside the furniture, outside the furniture. We spray the bottoms, we spray the backs. I had one customer early on who said, "Why didn't you paint the back of this cabinet?" I'm like, "It goes against the wall." No, it's going in the middle of the room. They never told me this, but ever since that customer, I still remember this. This was 12, 13 years ago. And I said, we're going to spray the back of every piece of furniture, which we did not do at the old shop.
Mm.
I started doing that here to level up my quality, my craftsmanship. And same thing is like those 2 or 3 extra minutes it might take to scuff sand, or 3 extra minutes to spray some sealer and top coat on in the process. The customers will get a better piece of furniture at the end. And obviously you could sell them on it too, that the drawers are finished, the back is finished, everything is better, and it's protected. And the same thing, it just looks better, all because that one customer told me, why didn't you paint the back? So I go, that will never happen again. That will never happen again. And seeing, that's the biggest thing, seeing people on the internet, a lot of the furniture flippers, you never see them flip the furniture and spray the bottoms or the edges. And you're like, well, what about this little curve under here? Like, you're not spraying any paint there. We flip everything. We spray everything. If it's color changing, we spray it all: black, white, blue, pink, whatever color a customer wants to go. Even if it is painted, we do higher quality work because that's what these customers are expecting from us. So like I said, we do it because we know that it could bite us in the butt again one day. They could tell us, oh, I didn't like that. Well, I don't like confrontation. I don't like to be bickering or fighting with a customer. I'd rather give them no reason to complain. And so when we drop it off, we shake hands, they pay me, and we walk out. Like, there's no questioning my quality of work. So it's been, I said, 16 years of that, and we're going to keep that going as long as we keep doing this.
Nice. Aaron Moore, thank you so much for stopping by. This is Aaron Moore from Moore's Refinishing. Where can they find you?
Instagram is my favorite platform. That's the one that we talk to on the most. It's Moore's_refinishing. If you have any curiosity of the teaching side or any of that, reviveandrefine.com. You could find everything there, all of my social media. And, even if you need a piece refinished, send me a message there. You can fill out a contact form. Oh, and one last thing, I forgot to mention this part. If anyone has a piece of furniture anywhere across the US, go to that website, fill out the contact form. When in this community that we're building, I'm passing these leads on to other woodworkers across the country. I get messages all the time. I wish I knew someone in Austin or South Carolina or wherever. I don't know anyone. Well, my goal is in 2026 to make these connections and start making these refinishers money. So when you're at the website, if you have a piece that you need refinished, send it to me. I will get people connected to you, here in the near future. We're just starting it, but we're already seeing a little bit of growth. So I can't wait to see we'll catch back up in a few months. Maybe we'll do another podcast later in the year and see where we're at.
That'd be great, Aaron. I'd really like that.
Meet you as
Thank
I
you
said.
so
I
much.
appreciate you, Eric, and I love this podcast. Everyone needs to go follow this and hit subscribe on all the platforms. When you sent it to me, I subscribed. I listened to it in the spray booth whenever it comes on.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that.
Of course, thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next episode. If you're interested in learning more about Aaron, I'll leave some links down below, both for his website and his membership. Go check him out. He's a great guy. I've also put together a little mini workshop, a video about how to get clients for free. If you're interested, head on over to Instagram and DM me the word clients, and I'll send you the link. It's unlisted. It's the only way to get it, and I will see you in the next episode.